You wake at 3 in the morning. Your heart is racing. Sweat clings to your skin. There's a sense of urgency, of something vitally important just slipping away from you. You're certain, absolutely certain, that you just experienced something real, something that matters. The dream clings to you like morning fog, vivid and urgent in a way that ordinary dreams never are. It wasn't random neurons misfiring in the darkness. It felt intentional, purposeful, as if something was trying to reach you through the veil of sleep, trying to communicate something your waking mind desperately needs to understand. You check your phone in the darkness. No messages, no explanations for the visceral certainty that won't release its grip on your consciousness. But the feeling remains, persistent and undeniable. You've been touched by something beyond the ordinary, something that exists in the spaces between science and mystery, between the rational and the intuitive, in the territory that most of us had been taught to dismiss as mere fantasy. Have you ever woken from a dream feeling it held a deeper truth? A message just beyond your grasp, like trying to remember a word on the tip of your tongue but far more significant? Something your rational mind reflexively dismisses as wishful thinking, yet your intuition refuses to let go? A knowledge that something important occurred in that space between sleeping and waking, something that your conscious mind isn't equipped to fully process? What if those weren't just random firings of your brain, the neural equivalent of digital static? What if they were something far more profound than we've been conditioned to believe? What if consciousness itself operates according to principles that our current scientific models have only begun to glimpse? Welcome to the world of quantum dreams, a territory where ancient wisdom and cutting-edge physics converge, where your sleeping mind becomes a portal to information and insight that shouldn't theoretically be accessible to you at all. Most people think of dreams as background noise, the brain's way of filing away the day's experiences, like a computer sorting through files and discarding corrupted data. Dreams are often dismissed as the psychological equivalent of white noise, the mind's waste product. But what if we've been measuring the wrong frequency entirely? What if we've been looking for signal in the wrong dimension? Quantum dreams are fundamentally different from the ordinary dreams that most of us dismiss without a second thought. They're not just typical dreams that fade within minutes of waking. They're experiences that feel uncannily real in ways that ordinary dreams never do. They arrive with a clarity of detail that's almost more vivid than waking experience. These are experiences that arrive with messages that feel downloaded rather than constructed from the debris of your daily thoughts. Some are predictive, showing us futures that later manifest exactly as dreamed, with details too specific to be coincidence. Others are profoundly symbolic, unlocking insights we didn't know we needed, solving problems that have been troubling us, or revealing truths about ourselves that we weren't consciously aware of. Think back to your own life for a moment. Can you recall a dream that warned you not to take a certain path? A dream so vivid and compelling that you changed your plans based on its message. And then later, sometimes weeks or months later, you learned that something terrible would have happened if you'd gone through with your original plan? Can you remember that moment of recognition, that sensation of your skin prickling with the realization that your dream had somehow seen into the future? Or perhaps you've had a nightmare so powerful that it shifted your entire perspective on something. A dream where the emotional truth, however symbolically expressed, revealed something fundamental about your situation that your waking conscious mind had been avoiding or unable to see. Perhaps you've dreamed the solution to a problem you'd been wrestling with for months, waking with a sudden clarity that persisted into your waking hours and actually worked. These aren't accidents or random neural noise. These are quantum dreams, and they're trying to tell you something. They're evidence of a mechanism operating beneath the surface of ordinary consciousness, a communication system that spans dimensions of reality we're only beginning to understand. The potential here isn't minor or incidental. These could be direct lines to deeper truths about yourself, about reality itself. They could be windows to information that shouldn't, theoretically, be accessible to you at all. But here's what makes this truly unsettling, truly profound. What if some of these dreams aren't coming from your subconscious at all? What if they're messages from somewhere else entirely? What if they're communications from beyond the veil that separates ordinary consciousness from dimensions and intelligences we've been taught to dismiss as impossible? Now, before we venture too far into territory that traditional science dismisses, let's ground ourselves in what quantum physics and modern neuroscience are actually discovering. For decades, perhaps centuries, neuroscientists dismissed the deeper aspects of consciousness as mere epiphenomena, side effects of brain activity with no real causal power. Consciousness was thought to be like the sound a machine makes while operating. Interesting perhaps, but ultimately irrelevant to how the machine functions. But quantum physics has shattered that assumption with implications that still make many mainstream scientists deeply uncomfortable. At the quantum level, the most fundamental level of reality, consciousness appears to play an actual role in collapsing probability waves. The act of observation literally affects reality. The famous double-slit experiment demonstrates that particles behave differently depending on whether they're being observed. Some researchers now theorize that consciousness itself may operate on quantum principles, existing in superposition, connected across space and time in ways that our everyday logic, formed in a classical bash, Newtonian universe, simply cannot fathom. If consciousness is quantum in nature, then your awareness is not localized to your brain. It's not confined to the skull. It extends throughout a larger field, connected to everything else in ways that transcend ordinary space and time. What does this mean for dreams? It means everything we've been taught about the boundary between your mind and the external world might be fundamentally wrong. It means that the boundary is far more permeable than any conventional neuroscience model has suggested. It means you're not isolated in your own skull. You're connected to something larger, something that might contain information and intelligence from multiple sources and multiple dimensions of reality. Recent studies have documented phenomena that simply shouldn't exist under classical neuroscience models. Researchers have found consistent evidence of precognitive dreams, where individuals accurately dream about events they couldn't possibly have knowledge of, events that haven't happened yet, sometimes weeks or months, or years in the future. These aren't statistically insignificant anomalies or wishful thinking. They're consistent, reproducible, and actively defy conventional explanation. Scientists have documented cases of shared dreams, where two people, sometimes separated by entire continents, with no way of communicating about their dreams, experience the same dream environment simultaneously, the same dreamscape, with astonishing detail and consistency. Then there's the concept of non-locality in consciousness. The revolutionary idea that your awareness isn't confined to your brain like a prisoner in a cell, but extends throughout a larger field, a field that connects all conscious beings everywhere. Some theorists, building on the work of quantum physicists and depth psychologists, suggest that this field is what Carl Jung called the collective unconscious, a shared repository of symbols, archetypes, and knowledge accessible to anyone who can tap into it properly. This isn't mysticism divorced from science. This is emerging from the intersection of quantum mechanics and neuroscience. Ancient cultures understood this intuitively, long before science caught up. They didn't see dreams as private hallucinations, random fireworks in an isolated brain. They saw them as portals. The Aboriginal peoples of Australia, with a continuous culture spanning tens of thousands of years, speak of dreamtime as a simultaneous reality where all times and all beings exist together in a kind of eternal ba. No. Indigenous shamans across the globe, from the Amazon to Siberia to Africa to the Pacific Islands, have always known that dreams are where the real work happens, where consciousness can operate outside the limitations of the material world and access knowledge that has no physical pathway. But here's the glitch in our modern understanding that should make us pause. There are thousands upon thousands of documented anecdotal cases of dreams that provided solutions to seemingly unsolvable problems. Mathematical formulas that were dreamed completely intact and later verified as correct by scientists who had no connection to the dreamer. Scientific breakthroughs that arrived whole and complete during sleep, like downloads from some external database. Medical diagnoses that appeared in symbolic form in dreams, leading patients to seek help for conditions they didn't consciously know they had, conditions they were unaware were developing in their bodies. These aren't flukes or coincidences. They're evidence of a mechanism we've yet to fully map, a communication channel between consciousness and reality that operates according to principles we don't yet understand. What if quantum dreams are the universe communicating with us through the only channel not blocked by rational resistance? What if consciousness, at its deepest level, exists in a state of quantum entanglement with reality itself, connected to all information, all possibilities, all intelligence? What if your sleeping mind is more connected to the truth of reality than your waking mind, which is constantly filtered through learned assumptions, cultural programming, and the limitations of language? So here's the practical question that bridges the theoretical and the personal. If these quantum dreams are real, if they're genuinely communicating something significant, how do we access them reliably? How do we distinguish genuine quantum dreams from mere wishful thinking or ordinary dreams? How do we decode the messages and actually use them? First, and most fundamentally, you must remember them. This is more critical than you might initially think. Dreams fade. Within minutes of waking, we lose up to 90% of dream content. It's as if the memory traces evaporate. But here's what's important to understand. Quantum dreams are different. They have a stickiness to them, a residual energy. They cling to your consciousness like static electricity. The memory doesn't evaporate. It persists in a way that ordinary dreams don't. If you want to capture these quantum dreams, if you want to preserve them so you can work with them and understand them, you need to act immediately upon waking. Keep a journal by your bed. And this is important. Not a note on your phone or a digital device. A physical journal. Paper and pen. The act of writing by hand creates a different kind of neural encoding than typing on a screen. It activates different parts of your brain and creates a stronger, more stable memory trace. The moment you wake, before checking messages, before getting out of bed, before your conscious mind engages with the day's demands, write. Write what you remember, even if it's fragmentary and disconnected. Write the colors you saw. Write the emotions you felt, the texture of the feelings. Write the sensation of the dream, the apparent logic of it, no matter how illogical it was. Write the time you woke. Write the names of people or places if you remember them. Write everything that lingers, and then write what you remember about what lingered, even as you were writing it. Over weeks and months of consistent recording, patterns will emerge. Quantum dreams repeat their signatures. Certain symbols will appear again and again. Certain themes will echo across multiple dreams. Certain messages will insist on your attention through repetition. The very act of paying attention to your dreams signals to your subconscious and to whatever larger intelligences might be trying to communicate with you that you're open to receiving these messages. It's like tuning a radio to a specific frequency. The signal is always broadcasting, but you have to be on the right frequency to receive it. Now let's talk about what you're likely to encounter as you begin working with your dreams more consciously. Quantum dreams have recognizable archetypes and patterns. These are the symbols and scenarios that appear repeatedly across cultures and centuries. The recurring themes that appear in dreams of people who have no connection to each other, who don't share language or cultural background or geography. This repetition across time and space is evidence that they're tapping into something shared and real, something objective rather than purely subjective. The paradox dream is one of the most distinctive types of quantum dreams. In these dreams, you experience something that is logically impossible, something that violates the laws of physics as your waking mind understands them. You're walking up stairs that somehow, simultaneously, descend. A room contains infinite versions of itself in a way that shouldn't be geometrically possible. You communicate without words, yet you understand perfectly and completely what's being communicated to you. People speak in languages you don't consciously know, yet you comprehend every nuance. These aren't errors or glitches in the dream. They're signatures of quantum superposition, the coexistence of contradictory states, bleeding into your ordinary consciousness. Your mind is showing you how reality actually works at the quantum scales, attempting to translate quantum mechanics into imagery that your brain can process. Then there are dreams where impossible physics manifest. Gravity functions differently than it should. You fly not through effort or mechanical means, but through intention, through will, through a kind of intention-based movement that has no waking analog. Objects transform from one thing to another without an intervening process. Time moves in loops, or you experience multiple time frames simultaneously. Your consciousness spans multiple locations at once. These dreams are showing you that the rules you believe are absolute, the laws of physics that seem immutable in waking life, are actually negotiable at deeper levels of reality. They're previews of quantum mechanics, showing you that the solid, deterministic world of waking consciousness is actually far stranger and more malleable than conventional experience suggests. Encounters with impossible beings is another recurring archetype. In these dreams, you meet entities that don't fit ordinary categories. They're not quite human. They're not quite animal. They're not quite anything that your waking mind has easy categories for. And yet there's a deep sense of recognition. Many people who report these encounters describe them as anciently familiar, as if they've known these beings forever, as if they're part of some fundamental layer of consciousness that transcends individual lifetime. These may be encounters with archetypal consciousness, encounters with aspects of your own expanded awareness that exist outside time, or they may be genuine contact with intelligences from other dimensions, other realities, other frequencies of existence. The message dream is particularly significant because it carries information rather than just experience or emotion. In these dreams, information arrives intact and whole. You don't piece it together logically, constructing it from fragments. You don't reason toward it. It appears complete, downloaded whole into your consciousness. You wait understanding something you had no framework for, possessing knowledge about something you've never studied. These are often the most significant quantum dreams because they carry data, actionable information that later proves to be accurate and useful. Something is broadcasting, and you've received it clearly. The crucial insight here, the fundamental key to understanding quantum dreams, is this: symbols are the language of quantum reality. Your subconscious mind, your deeper self, speaks in symbols because symbols are more efficient carriers of meaning than linear language. Language is sequential. You have to speak one word after another, constructing meaning through the addition of words. Symbols are holistic. A single symbol can contain multitudes of meaning. An image can convey what would take paragraphs of words to express. Your unconscious mind is extraordinarily sophisticated and operates in a language far richer than the limited vocabulary of waking language. But here's the key that nobody tells you, and this is critical. Your personal symbol system is unique to you. Yes, there are universal archetypal symbols. Water often represents emotion and the unconscious. Fire often represents transformation and energy. Being chased often represents avoidance or running from something. But the specific meaning of symbols in your dreams, the personal loading that they carry, is unique to your individual consciousness, your individual history, your individual soul's journey. That house that appears repeatedly in your dreams isn't the same house as in someone else's dreams. That recurring figure, that shadow person or mysterious stranger who keeps appearing, means something specific to your unconscious mind. It's connected to your particular history, your particular fears or hopes, your particular journey. You must create your own dream dictionary. Over time, you document what symbols mean specifically to you. When you dream of a particular person, place, or object repeatedly, you investigate your personal associations with that symbol. What does that symbol evoke in you, emotionally? What fear does it touch? What hope? What memory? What unresolved issue? This is how you decode the specific transmissions that are meant for you. Over months and years of consistent work, your dreams become a personal language. They become a direct communication channel between your conscious mind and your unconscious mind, and perhaps between you and something larger than yourself, something that exists beyond the individual psyche. You become fluent in the language of your own soul. Now we arrive at the question that separates the merely curious from the genuinely transformed. What if some quantum dreams aren't from you at all? What if they're messages from beyond the boundary of individual consciousness? What if they're contact from sources external to your own mind? Consider the possibilities that serious researchers have documented. Carl Jung, one of the greatest depth psychologists of the 20th century, documented cases of patients who dreamed information about past lives, details they could not have known through any normal means of learning. Researchers have investigated these accounts and found them to be accurate, verifiable. People have dreamed events that haven't yet happened, sometimes years into the future, with impossible precision and accuracy. Others report dreams of deceased loved ones, not as wishful fantasy or projection, but as distinct encounters with coherent presences, with their own agency and intention, communicating real information. Some theorists working at the intersection of consciousness studies, quantum physics, and psychology propose that quantum dreams may be accessing several different sources of information. There's the possibility of the collective consciousness, a shared field of information containing the accumulated knowledge and experience of all humanity, the universal wisdom that transcends any individual human being. Jung believed this existed as the source of universal symbols, the psychological bedrock of human experience. What if dreams are simply tuning into this frequency, the same way a radio tunes into a broadcast? There's the possibility of past lives, of memories encoded in the quantum substrate of consciousness itself. If consciousness is quantum in nature, if it's not bound to a single timeline but exists in superposition across multiple temporal dimensions, then your dreams could be accessing memories from other lives, other temini, incarnations, other time frames. All possibilities might exist simultaneously in the quantum realm, all accessible within the non-local field of consciousness. You might be accessing your own soul's history across multiple lifetimes. There's the possibility of alternate timelines based on the many worlds interpretation of quantum mechanics. This interpretation suggests that all possibilities exist simultaneously. Every choice creates a branching of reality. Your dreams might be showing you branches of reality, warnings from timelines where different choices led to different outcomes. You're receiving information about paths not taken, so you can course correct in this timeline, so you can make choices that will lead to better outcomes. And then there's the possibility of direct contact, communication with intelligent presences that exist independently of your consciousness. Not your imagination, not your unconscious mind. Something other, something separate. Throughout history, these encounters have been documented. Prophets receiving divine messages, inventors meeting their muses and receiving complete technical designs, healers receiving guidance from entities of light, and compassion. If consciousness truly operates on quantum principles, if it exists in superposition and non-locality, then the idea that you're alone in your dreams becomes not just unlikely, but almost absurd. You're connected to a larger field. Why wouldn't information traverse that field? Why wouldn't intelligence move through it? Most mainstream science dismisses these accounts reflexively, almost without examination. But consider the logic. If consciousness truly operates on quantum principles, if individual consciousness is actually connected to a larger non-local field, if the boundary between minds is more permeable than we've believed, you're not isolated. You're already in communication, whether you recognize it or not. The question isn't whether contact is possible, but whether you're aware of it, whether you're paying attention. Here are accounts that suggest something real and objective is happening in the realm of quantum dreams. A woman in Oxford dreamed that she was in a vast library with infinite shelves reaching into impossible distances. An old man approached her in the dream, a figure of profound wisdom and presence, and handed her a specific book. Inside was the solution to a medical condition she'd been researching for years, trying to solve, unable to find the answer through conventional research methods. Every detail in the book, once she researched it, proved to be accurate and valuable. The book didn't exist in waking reality. She checked every library. She searched for it. It was not a real book available in the physical world, but the information it contained was real, verifiable, and exactly what she needed. Where did it come from? How did her sleeping consciousness access information that doesn't exist in any written form anywhere on the planet? A mathematician in Berlin dreamed that he was in a conversation with another mathematician, a figure who seemed to possess profound understanding of mathematics at a level beyond human comprehension. This figure showed him a complete proof for a theorem he'd been unable to solve for 3 years, despite his genius and his dedicated effort. He woke and immediately wrote down the proof, every step, every elegant turn of logic. It was correct, mathematically perfect. But more than that, it was elegant in a way his own work never achieved. It showed relationships and connections he'd never considered before. He later said it felt like the solution was simply downloaded into his consciousness, as if someone was showing him how mathematics actually works at its deepest level, revealing the structure of reality through pure mathematical principle. An indigenous healer in Peru reported lifelong dreams of a specific medicinal plant, a plant she'd never seen in waking life, a plant that grew only in remote regions of the Amazon that she had no way of accessing. She'd never studied it in any book. She'd never learned about it through any conventional means. For years, these dreams came to her, showing her the plant, its properties, how to use it, what it healed. Years later, during a ceremony with other healers, someone brought the exact plant, and she recognized it immediately with absolute certainty from her dreams. Every detail matched. The plant became central to her healing work, and she later helped countless people because of knowledge she'd gained through quantum dreams. A child in Japan began drawing perfect technical diagrams in her sleep, designs for machines that didn't yet exist in the world. The diagrams were detailed and precise, drawn by a child who had no engineering training, no access to such knowledge. Her parents thought it was just an unusual talent, a curious gift of imagination. Decades later, those machines were invented independently by engineers who had no knowledge of the child's drawings. The designs were nearly identical. Her dreams had shown her the future, shown her technologies that hadn't yet been invented. Are these coincidences? Are they products of exceptional imagination working out solutions that the logical mind couldn't articulate? Or are they something else entirely? Are they genuine contact with information that exists outside normal space and time, outside the boundaries of individual consciousness? The implications are staggering if they're real. If quantum dreams are truly messages from beyond, then death may not be the end of communication. Our loved ones, our guides, our higher selves, our soul families, whatever terminology resonates with you, whatever framework you use to understand these mysteries, remains connected through the quantum substrate, consciousness. Dreams become a technology for bridging the divide between material life and whatever lies beyond, a medium for ongoing relationship and guidance. If we're truly tapping into the collective consciousness or alternate timelines, if we're accessing a shared repository of human wisdom or branching possibilities, then every person is an antenna for information that affects not just themselves, but potentially all of humanity. Your quantum dreams might not be personal. They might be messages meant for sharing, for helping others, for collective evolution. You might be receiving guidance not just for yourself, but for the healing and transformation of others. And if direct contact is possible, if intelligence can reach through dreams, if consciousness can communicate across the boundaries we thought were absolute, then the universe is far more alive, far more interactive, far more responsive to human consciousness than we've been willing to admit. The world we live in is infinitely more complex and conscious and meaningful than the materialist model suggests. So here's where philosophy meets practice. Here's where abstract understanding becomes lived experience. If quantum dreams are real, how do you cultivate them? How do you actively access this channel and begin receiving guidance? Method 1 is lucid dreaming, the practice of becoming conscious within the dream itself. You recognize that you're dreaming while you're still in the dream, maintaining awareness and intention within the dreamscape. This creates a unique neurological and consciousness state. Your conscious mind is awake and aware. Your rational filters are down. Your access to the quantum field, to information beyond ordinary consciousness, is enhanced dramatically. You can navigate the dreamscape with intention. You can ask questions and receive answers in real time. To develop lucid dreaming, start small and simple. Throughout your day, regularly ask yourself a fundamental question: am I dreaming right now? Look for inconsistencies in the world around you. In dreams, text doesn't behave normally. Numbers change when you look away and then look back. Your hands look subtly wrong. Faces shift. The laws of physics operate loosely and inconsistently. By training yourself to notice these inconsistencies in waking life, by developing the habit of questioning reality, you prime yourself. When you're actually dreaming, when you're actually in the dream state, you'll notice these inconsistencies and recognize the dream state. You'll wake up within the dream. Once you achieve lucidity, the possibilities expand dramatically. You can ask questions directly and receive clear answers. You can navigate the dreamscape consciously, moving toward places or people or information that you desire. You can request specific guidance on specific topics. Some practitioners report that in the lucid state, they can access information with a clarity and directness that waking meditation cannot achieve. You're essentially having a conversation with the deeper layers of your own consciousness, or with intelligences from beyond your individual consciousness. Method 2 is dream incubation, the ancient practice of deliberately requesting specific dreams on specific topics. This was practiced in ancient temples throughout Europe and the Mediterranean, and it's documented in cultures worldwide. People would go to sacred spaces with specific intentions, ask for specific guidance, and the dream that came would address their question. You can practice this in your own bedroom. Before sleep, set a clear, specific intention. Write it down in your journal. Speak it aloud. Your intention might be a question you desperately need answered. Show me the truth about this decision I'm facing. Show me what I'm not seeing. Or it might be a request for guidance. Connect me with the wisdom I need to heal. Help me understand my purpose. Or it might be an invitation. Bring me guidance on my life's direction. Show me what I'm meant to do. Show me what I'm meant to become. As you lie in bed before sleep, focus on this intention. Feel the emotion of it in your body. Imagine what it would feel like to have this question answered, to receive this guidance, to understand this mystery. Your unconscious mind is extraordinarily responsive to clear requests. It wants to help you. It wants to provide the guidance and wisdom you need. Over time, if you persist with this practice, quantum dreams will begin arriving on the topics you've incubated. The messages will become clearer. The guidance will become more direct. Method 3 is meditation as gateway, working with the hypnagogic state. The hypnagogic state is the liminal space between waking and sleep, the threshold where consciousness transitions from waking awareness to sleep consciousness. This is where quantum dreams are most accessible and most vivid. Advanced meditators can maintain consciousness through this threshold, remaining aware as they pass into sleep and then into dreams. You're essentially riding the wave from waking into dreaming while maintaining awareness. To practice this, meditate for 20 to 30 minutes before bed. But instead of focusing on emptying your mind or achieving inner silence, focus on expanding your awareness. Don't contract consciousness. Expand it. Don't limit it to your physical body. Let it extend beyond your skin. Feel your consciousness spreading outward like ripples in water, like light expanding into darkness. Some practitioners describe this as consciousness extending to fill the room, then the building, then the entire world. In this expanded state, in this consciousness that's stretching beyond the boundaries of the individual self, you're positioned to receive downloads of information from sources beyond your individual mind. Method 4 is the Dream Council, an advanced practice for those ready for it. In your lucid dreams or in your meditative states, consciously invite a council of guides, teachers, or aspects of your higher self. Create a specific place within your inner landscape, a space that exists only in consciousness. It might be a temple. It might be a garden. It might be a library or a mountain peak or a beautiful sanctuary. Return to this place consistently in your dreams or meditations. Over time, this imaginal space becomes real. Beings of wisdom appear. Conversations occur. Information is shared. The entities that appear begin to have their own presence, their own consciousness, their own perspective. They're not just projections of your own mind, though they emerge through your consciousness. This practice should be approached with respect and clear intention. Set boundaries. Request that any contact serve your highest good, that it contribute to your healing and growth. Ask for discernment, so you can distinguish genuine communication from projection or contamination from your own fears and biases. This prevents unwanted intrusions and keeps the channel clear. A word on ethics and responsibility is essential. Quantum dreams are powerful. They carry real information. They can create real effects in the world and in your life. This power comes with responsibility that you cannot take lightly. First, respect the privacy of others. If a quantum dream brings you information about someone else, about their secrets or their future or their inner world, don't weaponize it. Don't use it for control or manipulation. Seek understanding instead. Seek compassion. Seek to honor the privacy of others even when you possess knowledge about them. Second, test the guidance you receive. Quantum dreams are not infallible or immune to contamination. They can be filtered through your own biases, your own fears, your own desires. An important dream might be telling you what you want to hear rather than what you need to hear. Verify important information through other channels. Use discernment. Check your guidance against multiple sources of wisdom. Third, honor the source, whatever that source is. Whether you believe these messages come from your higher self, from the collective consciousness, from spiritual guides, from the universe itself, from your soul family, from divine intelligence, from dimensions of reality we haven't named yet, treat them with reverence. Maintain an attitude of gratitude. This is essential. The channel works better when you approach it with respect and gratitude. Fourth, use this power for healing and growth, for yourself and for others. Dreams carry medicine. They're meant to be integrated into your life, meant to change how you think and act and relate. They're meant to be shared, not hoarded. They're meant to contribute to the healing and transformation of others and of the collective. Tonight, when you lay your head down and close your eyes, something will be waiting. It always is. It's waiting in the space between sleeping and waking, in the realm where consciousness operates according to principles we're only beginning to understand. A message encoded in symbols. Guidance wrapped in narrative and image and emotion. Wisdom arriving through the only channel that bypasses your rational resistance. The only way that some kinds of truth can reach you. For centuries, we've dismissed dreams as noise, as nothing, as waste products of neural activity. We've medicated them away. We've ignored them. We've completely misunderstood them as merely psychological processing, the mind's way of filing away information. But what if we've had it backwards? What if dreams are the signal and waking life is the noise? What if sleep is when your consciousness finally gets to operate at its native frequency, quantum and non-local and unlimited by the constraints of space and time and material form? What if every night you receive messages meant specifically for you? Transmissions from your deeper self, from collective wisdom, from the universe trying to reach you with information that could transform your life? The mechanism is real. The evidence is mounting and becoming harder to dismiss. The door is open. It's been open all along. You just haven't been paying attention. So here's your call to action, your invitation to begin this journey. Tonight, place a journal by your bed. Keep it within arm's reach. The moment you wake, before you do anything else, before you check your phone, before you get out of bed, before your conscious mind engages with the day's demands and distractions, write. Capture your dreams. Every detail that remains, every symbol, every feeling, the colors you saw, the people or creatures you encountered, the landscape, the emotion underlying the dream, the apparent logic of it, no matter how illogical it was. Write everything that lingers in your consciousness. Do this for 1 week, for 2 weeks, for a month. Keep going. Look for patterns. Your personal dream dictionary will begin forming. You'll notice certain symbols repeating, certain themes echoing across multiple dreams, certain messages insisting on your attention through repetition. You'll recognize your own personal language, the specific way that your deeper consciousness and perhaps intelligences beyond your individual consciousness communicate with you. Begin with intention. Before sleep, ask for guidance on something that matters to you. Keep it simple. Keep it sincere. Don't make it complicated. Just ask for what you need. Notice what arrives. Because here's the truth that could transform your entire life. The most profound messages might be waiting for you tonight. In the dreams you haven't been paying attention to. In the symbols your unconscious has been broadcasting for years. In the quantum field that connects you to everything. Your dreams are more real than you've been willing to believe. They're trying to tell you something. They have been trying to tell you something. And they're waiting for you to finally listen. The message from beyond isn't distant. It's not somewhere far away. It's arriving every night, written in the language of symbols, transmitted through the quantum field that connects all consciousness. It's being broadcast directly to you. You just have to remember to listen. You just have to be willing to pay attention. You just have to recognize that the voice speaking to you in dreams is as real and as important as any voice in waking life. Tonight. Start tonight. Because the conversation between you and the universe, the dialogue between your individual consciousness and the larger intelligence that permeates existence, doesn't happen in broad daylight when your rational mind is fully engaged. It happens in dreams. It happens in the places between. It happens when you release your grip on what you think you know and open yourself to what you don't know. And it's been waiting for you all along. The universe has been trying to reach you. Your soul has been trying to reach you. The deeper dimensions of reality have been trying to reach you. And they've been using the language that reaches you best. They've been communicating through dreams. Start paying attention. Start listening. Start recording. Because everything you need to know about yourself, about your path, about your purpose, about the future that's unfolding, is already being transmitted. And it's waiting for you in the dreams you've been dismissing as mere sleep.